Welcome replay viewers. My name is Michael Loud and I'm here at the Joseph Banks Native Plants Reserve, which is located in Kareela, a southern suburb of Sydney, Australia. And this is on Dharawal country, so I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and those emerging. G'day Carrie, g'day Nurse. So the reserve covers an area of 2.2 hectares and contains remnant bushland areas as well as various themed gardens with many labelled plants. Council established the reserve in 1969 as a tribute to Sir Joseph Banks, official botanist aboard Lieutenant James Cook's Endeavour, who collected numerous flora specimens when he visited nearby Botany Bay in 1770. His name is perpetuated in Australian plants such as the Banksia and Grevillea banksii. Council's Bush Care Unit, together with the Australian Plant Society Sutherland Group, holds bi-monthly work days and to plant and maintain some of the garden beds in the reserve. Volunteers are always welcome. So there you go. G'day Matthew. So anyway, we're going to go for a walk. Just thought I'd give you a little bit of up front there. Lorikeets are into it today. Looks like it's the receive. As I said, you are in Dharawal country. And that's the map. So we're here. I'm going to take a wander down through here, probably down, back up around, all the way over here, back up to here, and bingo. Let's go for a walk. Okay, Bill. What's in a name? What is in a name, huh? Many of the plants in Joseph Banks Reserve are labelled with their botanical name. Botanical names help ensure consistency in identification, as common names can vary for the same plant across the country. Oh, we're going to have a bit of a disturbance here, I think. A botanical name has two parts, the genus name and then the species name. Both parts are written in italics, like Banksia serrata. If the plant is a cultivated variety or cultivar, the name is written in single quote marks in plain font after the genus, like Banksia pygmy possum. So plant names may refer to people such as botanists or collectors, places or distinctive features of the plant such as size, shape, colour of flowers or leaves. Words of Latin or Greek origin are often used to describe features. So Banksia serrata, commemorating Banks, and then the serrata being the serrated leaves. There's a little bit about the names. We're going to head down here into the acacia garden. There's probably not a lot of acacias flowering at the moment, there's one. So acacias, commonly known as wattles, are a unique part of our Australian identity. The green and gold colours are used to represent the nation in sport. And Acacia placantha is Australia's floral emblem. With over 900 species in the genus of acacia in Australia, they are found throughout the country. Many acacias flower in winter and spring, bringing a burst of golden colour and brightness to the garden. However, at any time of the year, some species will be in flower. The tiny flowers, which can range from pale cream to deep gold, can be gathered in balls or rod-like spikes. Wattle Day is celebrated on the 1st of September each year. An unusual feature of many acacias is the flattened leaf structure called a phyllodes, which evolved to reduce evaporation. As garden plants, acacias have an undeserved reputation for causing allergies. However, very few people are allergic to wattle pollen, which is sticky and carried by insects, not wind. There you go. Don't be throwing shade at the wattles, guys. Picnic areas down here. Have your barbecue. Now this is an interesting one. This is a native citrus. So this is Citrus australasica. Citrus australasica is known as finger lime because of its edible fruits, and its edible fruits have a strong acidic citrus flavour. Small white flowers in spring are followed by finger-size fruits. The fruits ripen in autumn to winter, and the skin may be green, yellow, black, purple or red. The pulp is green, yellow or pink. It's a large shrub or small tree found in rainforests of northeast New South Wales and southeast Queensland. The leaves have many aromatic oil glands. Look out for the thorns. It is a member of the Rutaceae family, which also includes popular citrus such as lemons, oranges. Several hybrids and cultivars are available for the garden, with some grafted onto other citrus rootstock. There you go. Any wildlife? Well, there's a few birds around, but I haven't come across a lot of wildlife just yet. I guess it's more focused on plants here. So let's go. So there's tea trees, the leptospermums. Looking a bit thin up there. But these are all the leptospermums here. Not many of them in flower at the moment. It's the wrong time of year. Let's go have a look out from the lookout, eh? Oh look, I can see the water. That's the Georges River down there. So we're kind of in the middle of suburbia here. There's a bit of your wildlife. So it's a small patch in the middle of suburbia. But I think these guys are nesting in that hollow because they just popped out of that hollow in the tree. So there's a couple nesting. Yeah, there's some sort of works going on somewhere at a house with a machine beeping away, and there's a roadway just down there with all the cars. So yeah, we are right in the middle of suburbia here. We're not out in some remote location, but this is a reserve, kind of, I guess, carved out of the before it became very suburban. Maybe a lot smaller than Central Park though. Yeah, so this place was set up in 1969, and this area was a lot less densely populated back in 1969. It was a little bit more out in the sticks back in those days. But it's been sort of preserved as it's a bit of remnant bushland, but it's also sort of got some cultivated gardens as well. Trying to keep a track of where I'm going. Following the trail. So it all goes down there. And there's houses next door. G'day, Finland. Do you guys get any snow in Finland? Yes, well, it's a lovely little pocket of nature, isn't it? In suburbia. Yes, you do? I've heard that about Finland. Gets a bit cold there sometimes. Lots of snow, exactly. So this is your warm rainforest. So it says there are many different types of rainforest. Joseph Banks Reserve has warm temperate rainforest growing here on a north-facing slope, and cool temperate rainforest near the fern garden. Rainforest habitat has high moisture, a closed tree canopy, and low levels of light. Features of rainforest plants include leaves which face the sun, large green leaves, and few flowers. The new leaves of rainforest trees are often red. Although eucalyptus trees do not grow naturally in rainforests, they were planted in the early days of the reserve to help create a canopy to protect the young rainforest plants. Look for shade-loving plants at home in the rainforest, such as cordyline, ferns, ginger plants, and palms, as well as orchids and epiphytes which grow on rocks and trees. So let's go have a look. And who's burning it all down? I mean, trying not to burn it down, but when we had those fires about a year ago or so, there's a few rainforests that started to burn that hadn't burnt before, which was not natural. Big corp. G'day, Anita. Don't burn it down. So this is your staghorn, Platycerium superbum. And the difference between a staghorn and an elkhorn is that the staghorn has a single growing point, so you get this big large formation, and an elkhorn looks like this, where you get multiple growing points. Okay? So that's Platycerium bifurcatum. See, it's all in the name, bifurcate. Whereas this one, superb. So this is superbum, that's bifurcatum. Yeah. Eucalyptus grandis. Flooded gum is a majestic tree found in moist valleys along the northern New South Wales coast, and in Queensland it has a rough bark around the base and a smooth silvery light bark above. As a tall, fast-growing tree, it was planted in the 1970s in the early days of Joseph Banks Reserve to provide shade for other plants. Eucalyptus trees are the dominant trees in Australia with over 700 species. Look out for several local species growing in the reserve, including Eucalyptus piperita, the Sydney peppermint, Eucalyptus pileolaris, the blackbutt, and Eucalyptus punctata, the grey gum. So if you guys remember a while back that I scoped I think it was the tallest, is it the tallest or the widest? The tallest tree in New South Wales, which was also a Eucalyptus grandis. Now, where do we go from here? Come down there. Oh, okay, so that goes off the side into the cycad garden. Little side journey over here. Oh, it doesn't look like there's much to see. Oh, there's a big pile of leaf litter someone's raked up over there. Probably not much to see down there, eh? Oh, and these are the cordyline that they were talking about, these things here. A few of these dendrobiums, the orchids. Why is the bark missing? You mean like on these? That's how they just naturally grow. So they have the rough bark down here, and then they have the silvery bark as you go up. So that's just how the tree naturally grows. So that's Eucalyptus grandis. I think that's Eucalyptus grandis. Or it could be, it's not pileolaris. I think this one might be pileolaris. I'm not particularly great with my eucalypts, to be honest. But then there's, I think these, which are the angophoras. So this one. But I think that one there might be grandis. But I'm pretty sure these tall straight ones are grandis, because that's how grandis grows, as it goes very quickly and up like that. Very tall trees. So see how they've just reached right up and gone very straight, forming that canopy over the top. So I'm pretty sure that's grandis. Now the palms. There are more than 2,000 species of palms, most of them from tropical rainforests, but some grow in deserts and some grow in snow-covered mountains. The tallest can reach 60 metres, the smallest are less than 60 centimetres in height. Their leaves can be palmate, like a fan, or pinnate, like a feather shape. Some palms have a single trunk, others grow with a cluster of stems. Australia has about 60 palm species. Many of these can be found labelled throughout this reserve. Two species of palms are native to the Sydney region, the Bangalow, Acontophoenix cunninghamiana, with pinnate leaves, and the cabbage tree palm, Livistona australis, which has palmate leaves. Both have a single trunk and can be tall, growing to 25 metres or more. Palms are often used as ornamental plants, but they also provide many useful products such as food, alcohol, oil, wax, fibres and timber. They all flower and set seed and provide an important source of food and shelter for many species of birds and insects. So this is Livistona australis, this one, the cabbage tree palm, which is native to Sydney. Now, silver foliage. Silver foliage in the garden. The plants in this theme garden have silver or grey foliage. Many of the leaves are also hairy. The colour and hairs are adaptations to reduce water loss from the leaves in hot, dry conditions. Sydney's humidity and high rainfall can be unsuitable for these plants that have adapted to much drier and harsher conditions. Some are grafted onto hardy rootstock to survive here and planted in raised beds with free drainage, good airflow and sun. Actinotus helianthii, a plant local to Sydney with grey-green leaves, is known as the flannel flower for its furry cream flowers. It is short-lived. Silver foliage in ground covers, shrubs or trees provides contrast in the garden. Look for acacias, eremophilas, grevilleas and grasses here. So that's the flannel flower, Actinotus helianthii. And here they are planted down here. There's a few flowers. They're not really in full flower at this time of year, but there's a few, got a couple of little flowers on them here. It's not really their peak flowering time. And those flowers are a bit wispy. They're usually a bit bigger than that. But you can see these plants are only sort of just getting established. And another silver foliage plant is this one, Plectranthus argentea. So it's a Plectranthus with silver foliage, hence argentea, because argent is silver. Sydney sandstone. See, I talk a lot about the Sydney sandstone on my scopes. So Sydney sandstone bushland, this area of Joseph Banks Reserve has been left in a natural condition and shows Sydney sandstone ridgetop woodland remnant and Sydney sandstone gully forest remnant. The bushland has sandstone outcrops, thin and sandy soils which are low in nutrients, and a layer of leaf litter. Trees include Angophora costata and Corymbia gymifera, and understory plants include lavandera, grass trees and acacias. Plants have adapted to the harsh conditions by reducing leaf area to minimise moisture loss. These hardy plants are also adapted to fire and often need fire for the germination of seeds. This area had a controlled burn in October 2009, and the bush regenerated naturally through seeds in the soil and regrowth from roots, lignotubers, epigomic buds in the bark on the trunk. Look for regrowth in this area. So this is what we're looking at here. This is a remnant. So it's remnant Sydney sandstone ridgetop woodland up there, and then Sydney sandstone gully forest as we come down through here. But yeah, that's how they regenerate. So the lignotubers are kind of like a woody thing under the ground that produces new shoots after a fire. And the epicomic shoots are the buds that are underneath the bark that shoot out after things have been burnt. And then a lot of the seeds often will need smoke to trigger germination. So it's all really adapted around fire and needing to burn. Now, I'm not sure what this vine is, but it's got an interesting flower. Looks kind of like a passion fruit, I think. I don't see anything indicating what it is, so I don't know whether it's a weed species or whether it's meant to be here, but it looks like a type of passion fruit to me. Passiflora. So you can see there's lots of grasses, lomandras, that sort of thing, as the understory. So this is sort of a pretty classic situation in Sydney bushland that you find, where you have these sandstone ridges and then this open woodland type of forest. And here's another acacia. It's got a few flowers on it at the moment. And this is the aforementioned grass tree, Xanthorrhoea. So you can see this is how it sort of starts to grow, and it starts to form a trunk. And the trunk is very black and charred because every time it gets burnt, it stays charred and black, and then it regrows. And this one's got a flower spike. Now, when this flower spike is, most of the flowers are finished, but when it's in full flower, this would be buzzing with bees. Like, there'd be dozens and dozens of bees buzzing around this. Yeah. It's all kind of gone to seed now. I don't know if I can focus on it, but yeah. But normally that spike is just full of, you know, hundreds, thousands of flowers all the way up there, and the bees love them. They just come buzzing around and farm them and whatnot. So. See, there's another smaller one. That one hasn't really started to develop much of a trunk yet either, but you can sort of see that's the spike. So they're normally flowering more in spring. That one's just got a few little flowers left on it, but they're kind of done with flowering now, and they're just going to seed. You tend to see them in full flower more in the springtime. Oh, there's a little parrot I scared off. Oh, getting swooped by the miner. So that's that's not a rainbow lorikeet. That's I'm not sure what that one is actually. Try and get a better view. It's a bit hard with the backlighting, but it's kind of silhouetted there. It's a bummer, we can't really see it very well, but it's got the sun behind it. But it was just down here in the grasses and heard me coming and took off. But these are Dianella, and I don't know, Dianella tend to be a little bit of a scrappy, ugly plant in the garden, but one of the interesting things about them is they get these iridescent purple fruits on them, which I always find, I mean, for a plant that's relatively ugly, it's always a shame they get these really cool looking fruits. But they're certainly good filler if you're using them in the garden, like just as a natural sort of green filler. But they, as you see, they can look a little bit scrappy like this. But yeah, the fruits just have that really, you know, sort of that colour that really pops. But I never find them to be a particularly ornamental plant. They're just a bit more of, I guess, if you've got a bit more of a rustic, rough kind of look going on. And so here it looks like they've got these lomandras, but they've just been all cut down to refresh their growth. So normally I would say you do this in late winter coming into spring, but obviously they've done it here in late summer to try and encourage a bit of regrowth. Unless these are not Lomandra, or are they might be kangaroo paws. Actually, they might be kangaroo paws, which would explain why they've cut them down. Because kangaroo paw do need that seasonal chop. I'll see if there's a label on it. I thought they were Lomandra, but looking at the shape of them, but they might be kangaroo paw. It's hard to tell when they're cut down like that. See, this is another entry down here. So it looks like they've put waratahs in here. So these are waratahs, Tilapia speciosissima, which is the floral emblem of New South Wales. So they'll look quite nice when they get up and going, because they put like a whole sort of bunch of them in here. I think these are actually kangaroo paws now that I look at them. So that's why they've been cut back now, because normally Lomandra you would cut back in late winter, not now. So these are kangaroo paws. So what they've done is they've cut them all down, and then they'll get this big flush of new growth, and then they'll have a beautiful display of flowers here when it flowers again. It's just a shame they don't have a label here to say what they are. So they've got the waratahs either side, and then they've got this big patch of kangaroo's paws, which will look really nice for the entrance. Now, where does that go? Let's consult the map. Hello. Kiss, kiss. I love you. Alright, so we're down here at the bottom. What do we got? Okay. Trying to figure out this map. See where that goes. I don't think that goes anywhere. I think that just goes down to the staff area. So we go up this way, up to the stairs. I think this is following the path more. So there's a few of these cordyline that are fruiting. There's those red fruits you can see. Oh, that's just that's where we came from over there. Now this is Prostanthera. This is the native mint bush. So it's got an interesting minty fragrance to it, but if you crush the leaves, yeah. It's quite aromatic. So it's got a lot of oils in that one. I think it's Prostanthera ovalifolia, I think, is the species. And these big things you see here, these are the what they call the Gaimea lilies, which aren't quite flowering at the moment. That's Dorianthus excelsa, and that one's just getting a spike on it. It is a beautiful time of year. Well, it's a bit humid, but other than that. So that spike's going to go all the way up and turn into a big flower on the end of that spike. So they're quite a large scale sort of thing. So they got the big foliage there. So those leaves can be up to like 2 metres long, and then that spike can probably go up to 5 or 6 metres up there, and then it has a big flower on the end of it. And they're very common in this part of the world. Yeah, I reckon if you don't understand seasons by now, you might just want to do a bit of research and Google it. You know where we are, so I reckon you can work that one out. So this tree here was thought to be extinct, but was rediscovered in 1994 northwest of Sydney. It's the Wallamai pine, Wallamai nobilis. So it was found in 1994 at Wallamai National Park in the Blue Mountains of New South Wales. It was common in eastern Australia until 40 million years ago, but now fewer than 100 trees grow in the wild. Due to its rarity, it is listed as endangered under the Federal Environmental Protection Act, Environmental Protection and Biodiversity Act. It is a coniferous tree in the Araucariaceae family. It has both male and female sexual reproductive cones which appear at the end of branches. In the wild, it grows up to 40 metres tall in deep shaded sandstone gorges. It has been propagated and sold to the public to support conservation. It can be grown in pots and is slow growing. So there you go, that's what it looks like. Very slow growing. So it can get up to 40 metres, but very small. Is it afternoon? No, it's not afternoon yet, mate. It's still morning. So, good morning, second mate. And this is another Banksia, but not in flower. It's actually no, sorry, I stand corrected. It's not a Banksia. It's a Lamatia miracoides. So it's Lamatia. So I thought it looked like Banksia spinulosa, but then I looked closer and I saw the label, and in fact, that's what it is, Lamatia. So there you go. Now this one here, this is your Queensland bottle tree, Brachychiton rupestris. Well, the operative word that you're using there is seam, so you might want to that might be something about yourself. Seam, so you're using the word seam. So when you use the word seam, it tends to suggest that that's your perception. So I guess you need to ask yourself that question. Otherwise, just sit back and listen and decide for yourself, right? Brachychiton rupestris, Queensland bottle tree, occurs naturally in dry areas of central western Queensland and northern New South Wales. The swollen bottle-shaped trunk develops in about 5 to 8 years. In its natural habitat and on older trees, the trunk is much enlarged. Water is stored in the pulp of the trunk. The seeds, roots, stems and bark have been a source of food for people and animals. It is deciduous with leaf drop affected by extremes in rainfall and drought. Widely planted, it is a hardy tree but may be slow growing. Closely related trees are the Brachychiton acerifolius, the Illawarra flame tree, and the Brachychiton popularis, the Currajong, both growing in Joseph Banks Reserve. There you go. So that's the big boy there, getting fat. So have I ever been stung by a blue bottle? Yeah, I think I was when I was very young, when I was a kid, but definitely not recently. I don't go in the ocean that much, so I don't really have a chance to come in contact with blue bottles. It's another dendrobium, so these orchids love to grow on the rocks. So they're epiphytic. Yeah, it hurts. I mean, I guess it's a long time ago, but I guess the only thing you could compare it to is like a Like if you've ever been stung by a wasp or something, right? And it's sort of like that, sort of like a hot needle, but it's probably, you know, because it spreads across your leg, it's probably a little bit more spread out. Something like that. I would compare it to being stung by a wasp. Probably very similar. Yeah, well, a blue bottle is a jellyfish, right? So I don't know about any other jellyfish giving you a sting, but I know we get blue bottles here. So the rainforest. There are many different types of rainforest. Joseph Banks Reserve has warm temperate rainforest and cool temperate rainforest. 3 layers in rainforest include the canopy, the middle story, and ground or forest floor. Rainforest habitat has high moisture, a closed tree canopy, and low levels of light. Plants in the rainforest are adapted to the poor light. Many have colourful fleshy fruits which attract animals and birds when on the plant, and also when ripe and fall into the ground. Features of rainforest plants include leaves which face the sun, dark green leaves, few flowers. The new leaves of rainforest trees are often red. There you go. Chancy. Look, you can even stop and have a drink. What do you reckon? Pass. And I think once upon a time you could have a barbecue here. Either that or these are really weird seats. Yeah, it's quite nice, isn't it? It's, I mean, we've got a very busy road just down there, but it's a nice little pocket of tranquility amongst the chaos, I guess. Even it's getting warm enough for the cicadas to start kicking on. So here's one of the gingers, Alpinia Kareela. Quite a common garden plant, this one. And more dendrobiums growing on the rocks. These are quite nice when they're in flower, these orchids. But at the moment, not a lot going on. Good morning, Steffi Jean. What time do you call this? 11:30. I don't think there's any Venus flytraps, no. Mate. You wouldn't believe the night I've had. Well, you know, Sounds like what I do every morning, except for the crash part. Instead of the crash bit, I get in my car and drive to work. Not sure. Let's see if I can figure this out on the map, which way this goes. Have I been drinking? Only water and coffee today. Water and coffee. Now, fuck. Let's see if we can work this out, eh? What do you reckon? Orientate the map. Try and figure out what's going on. So we're in here somewhere. We just came up those stairs, so if we go left, we'll go up that way. And if we go right, we'll go back that way. So I reckon last night? No drinking last night. Oh, hang on, which one can't you see the comments? One asking if I've been drinking. Have you blocked AB Logic? Well, fair enough. AB Logic can say some funny things sometimes that might be misinterpreted, I think. AB Logic, what have you been saying? You've been saying silly things, getting blocked. Anyway, ferns. Australia has a wealth of beautiful ferns with more than 400 different species. Many Australian ferns grow in this reserve. Generally, ferns need cool, sheltered positions. Many grow to perfection in damp parts of the garden too shaded for most other plants. But some are very hardy and are sufficiently versatile to grow amongst flowers that prefer about half sun. Ferns are a very ancient group of plants. Evidence from fossils in ancient sedimentary rocks indicates that plants with fern-like foliage and plants allied to ferns had become abundant by about 350 million years ago, long before the dinosaurs. Ferns do not produce flowers, fruit or seeds. Reproduction may be by spores, runners or bulbils. Spores are grouped in distinctive patterns on the undersides of the fronds. When released, the spores are dispersed by wind and water. Ferns range from small, delicate plants less than 1 centimetre to tall, large, 1 centimetre tall to large tree ferns over 10 metres tall. So there you go. Nice rainy forest. Yeah, no rain today. Hola Brazil. Where are we? We're here, right here. Finished work? No, I haven't started yet. I'll be going after this. Once I'm done wandering around here. Kicking. Oh shit. Yeah, I had a few things to do this morning. So, bit of a late start. There you go. Oh, that reminds me. Damn it. I bought some rice paper rolls and I left them in the car. I forgot to eat them. I wonder if they'll be okay when I get back. Crocs, like the shoes. Dangerous animals. Well, I don't know, people were going on about the wild and dangerous animals the other day, and the worst thing I came across was I had a bloody leech on my shoe trying to get in and suck my blood. But apart from that, not really much else. So now you see all this well, there's not much here, but there's a bit of blackness there. Often when you see these undercross with this blackness underneath, it's all the carbon build up from you know, thousands of years of having fires here and burning. Where are the big snakes? In my pants. I don't know, man, they're hiding. Too easy. Yeah, I did have an encounter with a one-eyed trouser snake earlier, but got that all sorted out, and I think we're all good. Let's smoke them out. Why do I want to smoke them out? Just live and let live, guys. Just chill, you know? Just let them go about their business. Avenue of ferns. Oh. The east-facing sandstone rock face provides shelter to an avenue of the tall tree fern Cyathea cooperi. It has a very slender trunk marked with distinctive coin spots where old fronds have been broken off. It is very fast growing. Joseph Banks Reserve also contains the similar Cyathea australis, the rough tree fern, which is very hardy and can tolerate direct sun when its roots are wet, and Dixonia antarctica, the soft tree fern, which has a thicker trunk. Water seeping through the rock provides constant moisture, supporting an understory of other ferns in the sheltered conditions. Todia barbara, the king fern, is a tufted fern 1.5 to 2 metres tall with a short trunk at the base. Look up at the ferns and orchids growing in crevices in the rock face. Okay, I will. So there's plenty of these bird's nest ferns hanging on over here. Little baby one there. There's plenty of weeds growing there too, by the way. Just saying. But you can see all the ferns. Alright, see you later. And got more Platycerium bifurcatum up here. Not too many tree ferns I'm observing, by the way. They must have lost them, because the photo shows them all along here, but there's none left. So something must have happened to them. But there's all these dendrobiums, like these orchids, growing in the rocks here. Aha! But yeah, look. That's the remnants of a small tree fern that doesn't look like it survived. So it seems they must have had a whole bunch of them here at one point, and they've kind of carked it. This is the rough tree fern, this one here, growing out of the rocks. So it's got that more rough trunk. The Cyathea australis. Yeah, so I don't know. Must have had a mass extinction of the tree ferns at some point. G'day, Ymir. Another big Platycerium bifurcatum, the elkhorn. Quite a big one. And Asplenium australescum, the tree fern. The bird's nest fern. And then all these dendrobiums. Again, not flowering at the moment, but yeah. Look at that. That's the bottom of a nice solid Angophora costata going all the way up. Oh my God, you know all these Latin names. Well, if you were here at the beginning, I did give an explanation as to why you use botanical names versus common names. But also, I'm a horticulturalist, so it kind of goes with the territory that I should know the names, right? I mean, I don't know them all, but... And so, a lot of them got labels as well, but here we go. Here's a sign about the Angophora costata. Angophora costata is a distinctive tree growing on Sydney sandstone. It's also found along much of the New South Wales coast and in southern Queensland. Oh, well, I'll get to that in a minute. Look for the sinuous shape of older leaves with twisted and gnarled branches. The smooth bark varies in colour from pink to orange, red and grey, giving the common name of Sydney redgum. In summer, the tree sheds its old bark, leaving a smooth new surface, as you can see here. Cream flowers in summer are followed by a ribbed woody fruit. Costata is Latin for ribbed, hence Angophora costata. The related Angophora floribunda, with rough fibrous bark, and Angophora hispida, with hairy leaves, also grow in Joseph Banks Reserve. The small genus of Angophora is closely related to the much larger Eucalyptus genus. The leaves of Angophora are arranged opposite each other, while the adult leaves of Eucalyptus appear to be alternate along the stem. So this is what I've explained on a couple of my other broadcasts. So Angophora has this opposite arrangement, see? So the leaves are directly opposite, whereas the Eucalyptus appear to be alternate, which means they go one, like that. Also, the other thing is the Angophoras tend to have or is it Eucalypt? Hang on, Angophora. Yeah, Angophoras tend to, I think, have the terminal leaf, and the Eucalyptus have the alternate leaf at the end. Or I could be getting that mixed up. It's one or the other. But I don't think my brain's in full gear at the moment. So so the reason for using the botanical names is it's a lot more accurate, because many plants can have different common names, and there can be many common names for one plant, or a particular common name could mean a variety of different plants. So the botanical name ensures that you're being very accurate about what you're speaking of. So, for instance, if I was to give somebody a name of a plant here in Australia, somewhere else in the world, it's like a universal language to say it has like a first name and a surname, if you like. So the genus is the general pool of plants that are like that, and the species is their specific name. So you can think of the genus kind of like a surname for your family, and the species as your name. So my genus would be Aud, and my species would be Michael. So it's just a more accurate way of communicating, essentially, at the end of the day. Because, common names can tend to be a little bit confusing. Common names are all right in a certain locality where everybody knows what you're talking about. But here's the grevilleas. So, grevilleas are popular garden plants with spectacular flowers in many colours, sizes and forms. Two main flower types, spider flowers and brush flowers, are shown here. Grevilleas flower best in the sun and can flower most of the year. Nectar-producing flowers attract birds as well as insects. Leaf form also varies widely. The prickly foliage of some species provides protection for smaller birds. Grevilleas have a variety of forms, from ground covers to shrubs to trees, and grow in a range of environments from the tropics to colder areas. Many cultivars and hybrids have been developed for the garden. Joseph Banks Reserve has many grevilleas, including a large selection of cultivars and grevilleas from Western Australia grafted onto rootstock suitable for Sydney conditions. The reserve also has local species which grow on Sydney sandstone, such as Grevillea sericea. So, not really peak time for grevilleas at this time of year. They're more of a autumn-winter flowering thing, but there are a few flowering, so we'll have a look. Isn't a tree species... I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's a tree species named that. But look, see? Popular with the birds. Oh, there was some birds in there having a go. But yeah, not a lot of them flowering at the moment. And look, it's a little water garden. These miner birds are everywhere. Noisy miners. Yeah, no, I'll check it out, but I'm not familiar with it. This is Grevillea lemon days. There you go, there's the label. Grevillea lemon days. What's that way there? That doesn't have a label for that, what that is, that ground cover. I'm not sure what that is, but it looks nice. Nice pop of yellow. But it doesn't have a label on it, so I can't tell you what it is. And I don't know what it is. Yeah, that's a bummer. It'd be interesting to know. Any fruity trees or wild berries? Well, yeah, earlier on before you got here, actually, I showed one of the only sort of native citrus trees we have in Australia, which is the Citrus australasiacum, the finger lime. And this is Banksia robur, which is swamp Banksia. The big leaves. But yeah, that was a fruit tree. It's a citrus that we have. But many of these plants have uses for food and whatnot. So this is talking about Banksias. Banksias contribute to the distinctive character of our bush, as they are found only in Australasia. Banksias produce large, spectacular flower spikes called inflorescences Each spike contains many tightly packed individual flowers which attract nectar-feeding birds. As the flowers die, the spikes develop into woody cones which conceal the seeds. Often fire is needed to release the seeds. Some local species can survive fire by regrowing from a woody lignotuber at the base of the plant. Banksia cones were brought to life as the Big Bad Banksia Men in the children's books by Sydney author May Gibbs. The Banksia genus, with over 75 species, is named after botanist Sir Joseph Banks, who collected specimens of many plants, including Banksias, when he visited Botany Bay with Captain James Cook in 1770. So there you go, there's the Big Bad Banksia Men. So yeah, this is a bit of a sunnier patch of the garden. Reminding me that I didn't wear my hat. It's getting hot. Well, there's one grevillea that's in flower. Let's have a look at that. It's a standard. I can't see the label. See if I can find the label for that one. No label. Bummer. And that's this tree here is a Tristaniopsis larina, a water gum. No, there's no fish. No, I don't think it's big enough for koi. It's only a small pond. But I can't see any fish in there actually. It's more for water plants, but yeah, I can't see any fish going around in there. You'd think there'd have to be something in there, but can't see any. Look and listen for animals. Plants and animals have evolved together over time and have a complex relationship. Plants provide food and shelter for animals, while animals help pollinate plants, disperse seed and control pests. Stop, look and listen for creatures, great and small, in Joseph Banks Reserve. Look for birds feeding on nectar-rich flowers, eating seeds and insects. Look for bees, butterflies, beetles, moths, flies, spiders, slaters flying or crawling around plants. Look for lizards on worn rocks. Listen for frogs. Some animals are less visible because they are nocturnal like possums, owls, bats, flying foxes and microbats, or they live in the soil. Attract native animals to your garden with diverse and dense plantings to provide food and protection. So these are some of the birds you might see: the kookaburra, the crimson rosella, the red wattlebird, and the eastern spinebill. Let's go and have a look what's going on over here. So this is Eucalyptus pileolaris, making a great habitat there. This is the black butt. Yeah, nocturnal missions indeed. So, Eucalyptus pilularis blackbutt grows naturally in Sutherland Shire. A tall tree 30 to 40 metres high, it has rough bark at the bottom of the trunk and smooth white bark on its upper limbs. Cream flowers appear in early summer. Hollows in dead branches provide habitats for birds, animals and bees. It is an important commercial hardwood timber. Look for other eucalyptus species in Joseph Banks Reserve and compare the bark, leaves and flower buds and woody fruits. So there's the hollow. So a lot of birds like parrots, cockatoos, lorikeets, things like that, nest in hollows like this. So when you had these sort of dead branches break off, you know, the temptation is sometimes to cut it off or clean it up or fill it up or whatever, but you actually should leave those things because they're important habitat for birds for nesting. Petunia, I think. That one? I get a label on it? Nah. Yeah, pretty sure that's Petunia, but don't quote me on it. Just trying to see if there's a label. There's no label on that one. Kareela. Exactly. Yeah, it's a nice flower. It's a nice yellow, but yeah, I think it's Petunia. I think. So that's the black bud again. That one there. See how it's got the rough bark down the bottom, and then it's got the smooth up the top, which is it's kind of a common feature of some eucalypts. And this one here is a Cupaniopsis anacardioides, the tuckaroo. It's more commonly found in sort of coastal sandy conditions. It's a very good street tree. Like, it's a good shade tree, very hardy, pretty. It's used quite a lot as a street tree. 26 degrees? What's so funny about that? Hey Siri, what's the current temperature?
It's about 28 degrees outside.
Okay, well there you go, 28. It is feeling quite warm. Hey Siri, what's 28 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit?
It's 82.4 degrees Fahrenheit.
There you go, 84. No, well, it's not really a jogging kind of place. It's more of a ornamental garden. More people come here for picnics and stuff like that. Here's another Grevillea sericea, I think. It's also probably the reason why we're not seeing a lot of wildlife particularly active at the moment, because it's the middle of the day, it's very hot, and a lot of them tend to go and hide and rest. You can see a honeybee. Yeah, well, the bees are out, that's for sure. And this one here is the blueberry ash, Eliocarpus reticulatus, which doesn't look anything particularly impressive at this time of year, but in spring it gets these beautiful powder pink dainty flowers on it and looks really nice. But at the moment, all we've got is these seeds, the fruits. So kind of looks a bit innocuous at the moment. But in the springtime it puts on a great show, just with masses of these little frilled little powder pink flowers. It's quite nice. Oh look, I think I was right with the petunia. So that says this sunny garden in Joseph Banks Reserve has few large trees to cast shade and has more sun than other areas. It displays many plants which thrive and flower well in sun, including Grevillea, Hakea, Banksia and Petunia, species from the Proteaceae family, and Callistemon and Melaleuca, species from the Myrtaceae family. Low-growing prostrate and clumping plants such as Brachyscome line the sunny paths. Some flower all year round. Many plants and cultivars or hybrids with spectacular flowers which have been specifically selected and developed from natural forms, they are often more compact than the natural species with enhanced flowering. So this is the Brachyscome they're talking about. They're not flowering that densely here because they're in the shade a little bit, but that's the Brachyscome. Brachyscome multifida. But there's not a whole lot flowering, strangely enough, at the moment. There's these guys, and there's the flowering eucalypt, corymbia, in the middle there. It's only very young. But yeah, even the bottlebrush here, because the bottlebrush is more of a spring to summer flowering, and they're kind of more or less finished now. So there's a bottlebrush here. Crawling with monkeys. Well, we don't have any monkeys here, so they won't be crawling with monkeys. Here's another Banksia serrata. So you can see how they get the old Banksia men character by the look of these. So if you look at the May Gibbs cartoons, she made these characters out of these called the old Banksia men, who were the bad guys, and the gumnut babies, who were the victims, I guess. And here's a Coria alba in flower, although normally this gets a lot bigger and bushier, but this is a young one, but it's got the flower on it, so interesting. That's what the Coria alba flower looks like. But this gets into a very big bushy plant when it grows out in the sun. The Coria alba. And all that's left here now is the toilet block, so I guess guess that'll do me, eh? I don't think we want to go look at the toilet block, do we? See if there's anything on the map that I've missed. We can go down this way, I guess. Where are we? We're there. Oh no, that's the only way out. I guess I have to go that way, yeah. Did we go down here? I don't know if we figured out what was down here. This is just the loop. Actually, I could go down here. This is another way back up. I'll go down and off down there, and then back up. Yeah, I can go this way. Another little abandoned picnic area. Alright, see ya, AB. Oh, there's another big eucalyptus grandis there. The silver trunk. Here's another Carimbia ficafolia, summer red. It's a cultivar. Has usually flowers around Christmas time, sort of through summer. Gets when it gets mature, it gets covered in those red flowers all over. It's quite spectacular. That's just a young one there. And oh, too bad AB Logic left. It's asking about fruit and food trees. This is Macadamia tetraphylla. Macadamia tetraphylla is one of the 2 macadamia species that produce edible macadamia nuts. The greyish green fruits, which ripen in January, contain the hard-shelled nuts. The macadamia is one of the few Australian native plants grown as a commercial food crop. The tree is native to northeastern New South Wales and southeastern Queensland and occurs in subtropical rainforest and coastal areas. It is endangered in its natural habitat. Look for the 4 spiny leaves at each node. Tetra is 4 and phylla is leaf in Greek. Touch the textured bark. So here you go, let's have a look. Tetraphylla. Who would have thought, eh? Endangered in its natural habitat. I can't see any nuts on this one. Oh, there's a couple of little ones hanging on there. They haven't formed. Unless they've already dropped. I can see a lot of old flower spikes. But no, they must have already all dropped off. A couple of remnants on the ground. Anyway, that's about it. At the end now. Not much more to see here. G'day bus nuts, I'm just about to finish. There we go. And this is where I started. This is another blackbutt tree. Big old remnant. You're on another periscope. Oh well. Can't be everywhere at once, right? Yeah, no, I'm just about to finish. Time to go. I'll go out and show you the sign out the front here. Oh well, you can. I guess you can watch the replay if you like. But here you go. That's us. So if you're still hanging around and you want to follow, you can tap the link you see on the screen, and I'll catch you guys somewhere else a bit later on. So bye for now. Catch you next time. See ya.